What's going on, everyone? It's JJ Zachariason, the editor-in-chief at FanDuel and at numberfire.com, here to do a start-sit Q&A. We got a lot of questions. I'm just going to get right to it. You guys know what I do here. I go as fast as I can through these questions. I answer them. I give you some logic, and we win some fantasy football championships. First question this week is from Joe. Pick one to sit. DJ Moore, Michael Gallup, or Hollywood Brown in full PPR. I think I would go with DJ Moore. Tough cornerback matchup there for him this week. Take the Kenny Golladay return risk reward or go safe with Singletary at my flex. I would go safe with Singletary because there's no Zach Moss. Singletary is actually a pretty good play. So I would go Singletary over Golladay this week. Tom Brady or Mitch Trubisky for my QB2. I lean Tom Brady, but I don't mind Mitch as a stream this week, especially against a now not injured, but COVID driven and riddled secondary for Atlanta. Singletary or Mike Davis. I like Singletary more. We don't know exactly how Mike Davis is going to be used. Deonte Johnson today, I'm starting him. Just wondering if you are as excited as I am. I'm excited for Deonte Johnson every day, man. Bears or Eagles defense in a half PPR league. I don't know why the half PPR matters, but I would go with the Eagles defense. Half PPR, pick one wide receiver to bench. Adam Thielen, Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods, or Hollywood Brown. I think I would probably bench Woods, and I'm saying that because of the cornerback matchup for him, but it's tough between him and Hollywood. Hi, JJ. Love the podcast. Appreciate it. Hawkinson or Ingram. I think I'd lean Ingram, but I do like Hawkinson today. He did beat up that Cardinals defense last year. Not that really matters as much this year, but I like Hawkinson today still, even with Babytron coming back. Brady or Stafford, I would go with Stafford. Djax or MVS, I would go with Djax. Deonte Johnson or Adam Thielen. I think that Deonte is going to have the floor for you, but I think Thielen has a higher ceiling. That game between Minnesota and Tennessee has a higher over-under than I expected. So I think getting some exposure to that, just given that line, and that line's moved up, I would actually probably go with Thielen there, but I think Deonte has the floor, which is kind of wild, just given the state of the Vikings offense. Robbie Anderson or Djax. I like Djax more. I like Djax today. I think he can have a strong outing. David Montgomery or David Johnson in 0.25 PPR. I don't like David Johnson today all that much. I think that you can make the case for Montgomery. I think Johnson's safer. But if your gut says Montgomery, I say go for it. Half PPR, David Johnson, Gibson, or Josh Kelly. I think you go Johnson there, but I'm very close to saying Josh Kelly because I love Josh Kelly, and he's in an awesome matchup today against Carolina. Hi, JJ. Full PPR. Is it dumb to start both Goddard and Ertz? Other option would be Jeff Wilson or drop James White for MVS. I think in this case, you can go with both of those tight ends, just given the amount of 12 personnel we're going to see from the Eagles week in and week out. Pick one to replace Julio Jones in a full PPR, and then there's no players. So sorry, Nathan, I can't get to that one. Should I bench Matt Ryan and stream Tannehill or Herbert instead? Worried about the matchup and no Julio. Yeah, I think that you can make the case for going Tannehill over Ryan. If you have to drop Matt Ryan, then I probably wouldn't do it. But if you can just throw in Ryan Tannehill for Matt Ryan, I think that that's a totally logical thing to do against a banged up and bad Minnesota secondary, an inexperienced Minnesota secondary. Dobbins, Connor, Ingram, and PPR, I would go with Connor. Fournette or Deshaun Jackson or AJ Green in the flex. AJ Green's going to see some Darius Slay. He's a big bounce back candidate. A lot of his peripherals look awesome. But I think in this case, I would go with Fournette just for the floor and hope that he sees a similar workload as he did last week. Logan Thomas or Jordan Reed in PPR. I like Logan Thomas. Hayden Hurst or Jonnu Smith. I think I would go with Jonnu Smith, but it's pretty close. Pick one, N'Keal Harry, Russell Gage, Traquan Smith, or Darrell Henderson in full PPR. Full PPR, I think you could go Russell Gage there. I think he's the safest of the three wide receivers at least. But Darrell Henderson's intriguing without Cam Akers playing. Pick one, Russell Gage, Marquise Brown, Darrell Henderson, half PPR. I would go with Hollywood Brown there, but I don't mind all three of those options. Mike Davis, Antonio Gibson, or Darrell Henderson. I would probably go with Gibson. We saw snap rate rise in week 2, but I think they're all in the same tier. I worry a little bit about Mike Davis's usage just because we don't know exactly yet. Are you trusting Babytron this week? I am in spots where, I have him in dynasty rosters, for instance, where my, it's a long lineup and a big lineup. And so I don't have that much depth as a result. So I would start him there. But I think he's sort of like a wide receiver 3 flex. I think that's the easiest way to sort of answer where I'm at with Kenny Golladay. Russell Gage or Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I would go with Russell Gage. PPR Superflex, Herbert or Kelly. I would go with Herbert. Also, tight end Henry or Higbee. I think that I would lean Higbee there. Mark Ingram or Russell Gage, full PPR. I think you can go with Gage. I love Mark Ingram this week. I think he's a really strong option. He probably has the higher floor, but Gage without Julio there, the more I'm thinking about it, I'd probably go with Mark Ingram. Sorry about that. Pick 2 PPR, Hayden Hurst, Djax, or Robert Woods with Tre'Davious White shadow treatment. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd still go with Woods there, but I understand. So I would go with Woods and probably Djax. Clearly, I'm not feeling the Atlanta offense all that much without Julio Jones this week. Robert Woods or Russell Gage, I'd probably go with Woods. Wilson, Prescott, or Newton at quarterback, I would go with Russ. Mixon or Kelly in PPR, I would go with Mixon. Would you trade Mixon for CMC and redraft PPR and Gibson or Fournette today? I'll do the Gibson or Fournette today. I'd probably lean Fournette. Would I trade Mixon for CMC? Depends what my team looks like, and if I have that stopgap in between, over the next 4 or so weeks with CMC sidelined. Would you start Jacobs at running back with the injury? Yes, but it would always depend on who I would be starting him over. Fuller or MVS, I would go with Will Fuller. Higbee or Hunter Henry, half PPR. I just answered that one. What 2 wide receivers do you think could have the biggest impact rest of season in PPR? T. Higgins, Hamler, Curtis Samuel, or Boykin. I'm going to go with Hamler there without Cortland Sutton. And I'll say T. Higgins over the other 2. Tannehill or Matt Ryan. I answered that one earlier. I like Tannehill. Hunt or Woods in half PPR. I'll go with Hunt. Kareem Hunter Woods, just answered that one. Goddard or Hawkinson in PPR. I like Goddard a lot today. I'd probably go with Goddard. That one's pretty close, though. Pick 2, Singletary, Hunt, Galladay, 0.25 PPR. I think I'd go with Singletary, close between him and Hunt. Montgomery, McKinnon, or A.J. Green in the flex. I'd probably go with Montgomery. Big Ben or Deshaun Watson. I'm really scared about Deshaun Watson. You have a team that leads the league in pressure rate going up against the team that's given up the most pressures. Definitely worried about Deshaun Watson. When I start Big Ben over him, probably not, because we don't get the rushing upside, but they're probably back-to-back, in terms of rankings and how you would view them this week. Who to flex? Singletary, Kelly, Gallup, and half PPR. I think Singletary is the safest option there. Full PPR, would you start Gage or MVS over Diggs in a Ramsey matchup? I'd still go with Diggs. Obviously the cornerback matchup's tough, but we can't overstate that, week in and week out. Let's see. Start 2 PPR, Jacobs, Hunt, Kelly. I would go with Jacobs for sure, and then I'd go Hunt over Kelly, but I think that you can make the case for Kelly for sure. Logan Thomas or Drew Sample. I like Logan Thomas more. Galladay, Woods, Gallup, half PPR. I would go with Woods and Gallup and just play it safe. Josh Allen, Big Ben, who to start? I'd start Josh Allen. Need 2 to start Montgomery, Singletary, or Josh Kelly. I would go with Singletary for sure. I think that you can make the case for Kelly over Montgomery, but Montgomery is a little bit safer, just given he'll probably see a little bit more volume through the air, I would assume. Hey, JJ, great show, man. Thanks. Quick flex help with Julio out. Start 2 of these 3. Mike Williams, N'Keal Harry, Golden Tate. Cheers. I would go with the latter 2, but I could see a case for all 3. I think they're all in the same tier. Michael Gallup or Marvin Jones. Like them both today, actually. I think I'd lean Gallup because I like that game to shoot out a little bit more, and he's really got some regression coming. He has a lot of air yards. But I like Marvin Jones. I think that Kenny Galladay coming back might end up helping Marvin Jones. Mike Davis, Antonio Gibson, or Darrell Henderson. Probably go with Gibson, but I think you can make a case for Henderson. Deonte, T.Y., and Marvin Jones, pick 2. I would probably go with the first 2. I think T.Y. is set up today to have a decent day and sort of a bounce-back week. T.J. Hawkinson or Dalton Schultz, I would go with T.J. Hawkinson. Should I flex CeeDee Lamb if I have Amari Cooper, or should I flex Higbee? I think Lamb's in an unbelievable spot, playing 91% of his snaps from the slot so far this year. And the Seahawks have given up the most slot everything so far this year. So I like CeeDee Lamb a lot. I would go with him. Tannehill or Ryan, I think I'm leaning Tannehill there. Got that question a lot already. Who to flex? Singletary, Kelly, Gallup, half PPR. I think Singletary is the safest there, but I think Gallup has the highest ceiling, and Kelly's kind of in the middle. PPR, Josh Kelly, Corey Davis, or Russell Gage. Since it's PPR, I'd probably go with Corey Davis. He's in a good spot today. Do I wait on the Devontae Adams and play Hollywood if he's out, or just start DJ Moore? I think Hollywood is a better play, arguably, than DJ Moore this week, so I would wait. I would probably not even be playing Devontae Adams, even if he does play, because we don't know what could happen with that injury. I would just play Hollywood Brown. Hawk or Cook, half PPR. I think I'd go with Hawk. Need to start 3 wide receivers in the standard league. Galladay, Gage, Green, John Brown. I don't really love Gage in a standard league. Maybe he's I would say Galladay. I would say Galladay. Need 3, Aaron Jones. So that one just got all messed up. Got to scroll back up real quick. Let's see. PPR, Beckham or Hilton. I think I'm leaning Hilton right now. Steelers defense or the Washington defense. Definitely the Steelers defense. Steelers defense might get 10 sacks today. Mike Davis, Ronald Jones, Ingram, and Hollywood pick 2. I'd go with the last 2. T.Y. Hilton or Galladay. I'd go with T.Y. Hilton. Hamler or Claypool. I would go with Hamler. Jones, Jay Smith, or Hawkinson. I don't know what Jones you're referring to here, so I'm going to skip that one. Hey, JJ, thanks for doing this every Sunday. You're welcome. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Half PPR, choose 1. Corey Davis, Will Fuller, Robbie Anderson, leaning Davis currently. If you want to lean Davis, that's fine. I'd say Will Fuller's pretty close. He at least has more upside. Biggest PPR upside, Hollywood Brown versus Kenny Galladay. I'd go with Hollywood Brown. Deonte, T.Y., and Marvin Jones, pick 2. I would go with the first 2. I think I answered that one already. Montgomery or Gage, I would go with Montgomery. David Johnson, DJ Moore, Josh Kelly, pick 2. Man, I think DJ Moore's the lock there in full PPR. I think you can make a case for Kelly, but I'd probably go with DJ. It's just easier to, to swallow if Josh Kelly goes off on your bench. It's better than DJ going off on your bench. Would you drop James White for either Carrion or Boston Scott? Probably not. David Johnson, J.K. Dobbins, Devontae Freeman, Logan Thomas need 1 running back and 1 flex. I'd go with David Johnson and Logan Thomas. With Jacobs limited or Fournette and Gibson better starts, I'd still go with Jacobs. I still think Jacobs could see 15 to 20 touches today. Sorry, I'm going to drink some tea real quick. Sammy Watkins or Russell Gage. I go with Russell Gage. Tyler Boyd or Kenny Galladay. I think you play it safe with Tyler Boyd. Need 2, Kelly, Slayton, Deonte, Johnson. I would probably go with Kelly and Deonte. Full PPR, Henderson Jr. or Marvin Jones Jr. And full PPR, I think you can go with Marvin Jones. Half PPR, pick 2, Anthony Miller, Rex Burkhead, Malcolm Brown, Ronald Jones. I don't like any of these guys. I guess I'm going Anthony Miller and Malcolm Brown. PPR, Kelly or Djax. I'm going to go with Kelly there. Antonio Gibson, Will Fuller, or Brandon Cooks. Man, that's a really tough one. I'd probably go with Will Fuller. Deontay Johnson or OBJ in standard. I'd go Deontay. Jeff Wilson, Dobbins, Hamler, half PPR. I think I would go with Hamler. We don't know exactly what Jeff Wilson's workload is going to look like. We're seeing a split in that Baltimore backfield. I think Hamler's in for, he doesn't have the best matchup in the world, but he could see 7 or 8 targets pretty easily today. Pick 2, Woods, T.Y., Anthony Miller, Mecole, Cole Beasley. I'd go with the first 2. Full PPR, need a flex, Robert Woods, Mixon, or Marquise Brown. I think I would go with Mixon, but it's pretty close, just given the way that he's been used recently. PPR, AJ Green, Boyd, or Joshua Kelly. Man, I think Boyd is probably safest, but I think Joshua Kelly might be the play there. Full PPR, flex, CEH, Deonte, or Gage. You're going CEH. Come on, you're not benching CEH right now. Daniel Jones or Justin Herbert. I like Daniel Jones a little bit more against a banged-up San Francisco defense. Jonnu Smith or Evan Ingram. That one's really close. I think I'd go with Jonnu without A.J. Brown there, but it's very, very close. Trubisky or Burrow. Again, that one's pretty close too. I think Burrow's a little bit safer, but I think Trubisky could have a very good day today. Let's see. Skipped ahead again. Fuller or Lazard, PPR. Love the show. I would go with Fuller. Gage or Mixon, I would go with Mixon. Fuller versus Boyd in half PPR. Depends if you need floor or ceiling. Ceiling, obviously, Fuller. Floor would be Boyd. Terry McLaurin, Montgomery, or Josh Kelly. I'd go Terry McLaurin. I love Terry McLaurin today, guys. If you have him, he should be in your lineup. Naheem Hines or Jeff Wilson. I think I'd go with Jeff Wilson. I'm just worried about a positive game script for Indy and what happened last week with Naheem Hines. I missed the first 3 minutes. I assume you talked about Julio. Did you say something like we should play Julio if he's playing? He's not playing today. So Marvin Jones, Jonnu Smith, or Hawkinson. I would go with Marvin Jones there, but I think it's close. Jeff Wilson, Dobbins, Hamler. I think Hamler is probably the go-to there with the split backfields, but wouldn't shock me at all if either of those other guys outscore him. I really like Dobbins' matchup too. I do think Dobbins has the highest ceiling there. AJ Green or Deonte or Deshaun Jackson in standard. Probably would lean Deshaun, but I think that you can make a case for AJ. Henderson, Gibson, or Kelly. I think I would go with Kelly there. Close, though. Hey, JJ, you rock. Thank you. You rock. Thanks for the hard work. Higher ceiling today, AP or Wilson. I'm assuming that's Jeff Wilson versus Adrian Peterson. I'm going to go with Jeff Wilson. Thielen or Mclaren. I might lean Mclaren. I really like Mclaren today. Hey, JJ, appreciate all the work. Half start 2, half PPR, I'm assuming. Start 2, more Hollywood, Kelly, Malcolm Brown, or Tyler Boyd. I would go with Hollywood and more, but it's close with Kelly and Tyler Boyd. I don't think I'd play Malcolm Brown. Do you like the Cardinals defense or the Eagles this week? I like the Eagles. Should I consider starting Sammy Watkins over Russell Gage? I don't think so. DJ Moore or gamble with CeeDee Lamb? I think you can gamble with CeeDee Lamb. I love that matchup this week. Don't love it for DJ Moore. If you want to take the gamble, go for it. Smith-Schuster or Waller at the flex? I'd go with Smith-Schuster. Let's see, Ingram or McKinnon? I would go with Ingram over McKinnon. AJ Green or Montgomery? I think I'd go with Montgomery. He's a little bit safer. Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers? I'd go with Josh Allen. Need one, Hawkinson, Logan Thomas, or Hurst in half PPR. That one's pretty close. I think I would lean Hawkinson, but it's very, very close. Half PPR pick 2, Russell Gage, Juju, Deonte Johnson. I think that I would go with the Steeler wide receivers. Fuller or Babytron half PPR. Both are really risky. I think I'd lean Fuller just because we haven't seen, Kenny Golladay on the football field yet. So we're going to go with Will Fuller there. Hey, JJ, thanks for doing this. What are your thoughts on Mixon this week versus Philly or Kelly versus Carolina? Mixon obviously doesn't have as good of a matchup as Kelly does, but I think I would still go with Joe Mixon. OBJ or Kelly, pick one in standard. I would probably go with Josh Kelly, honestly. OBJ is fine. I think that we all understand the worries there. Galladay or Gallup, I would go with Gallup. Half PPR flex, Hunter Henry or Antonio Gibson. Gibson gives you a little bit of a better floor, probably, just given his snap rate last week. But it's close. I don't have a strong preference there. Corey Davis or Galladay. I think that you can go Corey Davis. Again, I see Corey Davis as like a firm wide receiver 3, maybe even a low-end wide receiver 2, whereas Galladay is a wide receiver 3, more of a flex, just because he's coming off that injury. He even said he wasn't 100%. So if he goes off, he goes off. But I think that it's logical to not, be super, super confident in Babytron today. Ridley or Thielen in full PPR. Atlanta struggles without Julio. I'd still go with Ridley. It'd be really tough to bench Calvin Ridley. Although I don't know how you would be benching Adam Thielen either. Who should I put in? John Brown or Marquise Brown? I would go with Marquise Brown. Jarvis Landry or DeAndre Swift? I think I'd go with Jarvis Landry. Ingram or Logan Thomas? I would go with Ingram. McKinnon or Montgomery? I'd go with Montgomery. Let's see. Deonte or DJ Moore? I think you can go with Deonte Johnson over DJ Moore. DJ Moore or Ertz? I like Ertz today. I don't like the DJ Moore matchup. Obviously, DJ Moore is safe. I know that I'm talking down on DJ Moore. I still think that he's, more of like a low-end wide receiver too. But I like Ertz. I think that Ertz is arguably the play, but it's very, very close. Deonte Johnson or Robert Woods? I think given the cornerback matchup, I'd go with Deonte. Pick one in half PPR, AJ Green, Landry, Fitz, Pittman. I would go with Landry. Mahomes or Tannehill? You can't bench Patrick Mahomes. You can, but not for Ryan Tannehill. Yins like Anthony Miller, Dobbins, or Jeff Wilson, half PPR flex. I'm loving the Pittsburghese there. I would go with Dobbins, I guess. Hey, JJ, Tannehill or Rodgers? I think you can make the case for Tannehill, but Rodgers is playing so well, I would still go with him. Kelly or Deonte in half PPR? I would go with Deonte. Corey Davis or Fuller? I think Corey Davis is safer at least. Trubisky or Herbert? I would go with Trubisky. Just a lot of question marks with Herbert right now. Pick one in half PPR. AJ Green, I already answered that one. Cam or Dak? I would go with Dak. Dak is in a great spot. That whole game is unbelievable. Slayton or DJ Moore? I would go DJ Moore there. I do like Slayton, though. Fournette or Melvin Gordon in half PPR? I like the exclamation points just to get my attention. I would go with Melvin Gordon. Everyone calls him Babytron. Yes, everyone does call him Babytron. Half PPR, pick one. Deonte, Connor, Hollywood, Kelly. I think Connor's probably the safest, but Deonte is right there with him. All of them are really good options this week. Woods or Will Fuller? I'd still go with Woods just because there's obvious variance with Will Fuller. Deonte Johnson or Josh Kelly in standard? I'd probably lean Deonte, but I can make a case for Kelly for sure since it's a standard league. Hurst or Hawkinson? I like Hawk a little bit more. DJ Moore or Hollywood? Again, I think that you can make the case for Hollywood, but he has a higher ceiling, lower floor. So full PPR, I'd probably go DJ Moore. but I think it's very close. Corey Davis or Russell Gage, I'd go with Corey Davis. Let me know Kenyon Drake or AJ Green in the flex. I love Kenyon Drake today. I would go with Kenyon Drake. MVS or Mike Williams, probably lean Mike Williams. Half PPR, Jacobs, Cook, Henry, Sanders. I'm picking 2 out of Josh Jacobs, Dalvin Cook, Henry, and Sanders. I guess I'm going with Miles Sanders and Derrick Henry. I don't even know how to answer this question. It wouldn't be Josh Jacobs. So it's between Cook, Henry, and Sanders. I don't have a strong pull either way. I love Derrick Henry today, though. I think that there's a big bounce back potential because Ryan Tannehill has been throwing so many touchdowns. That generally regresses. It's a good matchup, too. Waller or Jonnu Smith. I don't know how you can bench Waller after his usage last week. Corey Davis or wait on Galladay, half PPR. I would just go with Corey Davis. Henry or Elliott. Zeke is the best player on this week's slate, so I would go with Elliott. I hope that these are DFS questions and not actual season-long questions, because if you're talking Derrick Henry versus Ezekiel Elliott, I want to join that league. Half PPR, pick 1, Hollywood Brown, Deonte Johnson, Marvin Jones. I'd go with Deonte. Mo Alley Cox or Logan Thomas. I would go with Logan Thomas because Jack Doyle's back. Full PPR, Herndon or Mo Alley Cox. I don't like either of them all that much today because of Jack Doyle being back. This would be easy without Jack Doyle. I guess I'd go Herndon, but not loving either of them as streamers. Hawkinson or Jared Cook. I'd go with Hawk. Traquan or Corey Davis. I'd go Corey Davis. David Montgomery, Darrell Henderson, or Malcolm Brown. I'd go with David Montgomery. Gallup, Cup, Josh Kelly, Marvin Jones, pick 1. I like Cooper Kupp today. I think that he finally has a big game. Need a quarterback. Can you rank these? Burrow, Rodgers, Breeze. I'd go Rodgers, probably Breeze, Burrow, but I think Rodgers is the guy that you would want out of those. Half PPR, Corey Davis, Hunter Henry / Antonio Gibson. Sorry you answered earlier, but didn't realize you were high-ish on Davis. Yeah, I mean, of those 3, I think I'd go with Corey Davis. Highest T lineup, I'm not going to talk about it. Well, I don't understand highest T lineup and what that means, what the testosterone has to do with MVS, McKinnon, or Corey Davis. I would go with Corey Davis regardless. Gage, Marvin Jones, Fuller, half PPR. I would go with Marvin Jones. I think he's in a good spot today. Hey, JJ, half PPR, pick 3. Babytron, Deonte Johnson, Cup, McLaurin, Hollywood Brown. I think I'd go with Cup, Deonte, and McLaurin. Those are really good wide receivers, though. Herbert or Haskins. I would go with Herbert over Haskins. Gage or Lazard. I'd go with Gage. Josh Allen or Mahomes. I think that's where you can make a case for Allen, but I would still go with Mahomes. PPR flex, Djax or Joshua Kelly. I would go with Josh Kelly. Mixon, Fuller, or Hilton, half PPR. I think I'd go with Mixon. Drop 1, Zach Moss, James White, or Damian Harris. I would drop Damian Harris. Tight end, Waller or Jordan Reed. You're definitely going with Darren Waller. Hey, JJ, love the podcast. Thielen or Connor. I think Connor's safer, which is crazy after week 1, but I do think Connor's the safer option. I'm starting Eckler, Gage or Josh Kelly in half PPR. I mean, I can understand going with Josh Kelly given the way this game script might go, but I would probably go with Gage just to play it a little safe. Andy Isabella or Will Fuller. We don't know exactly how Andy Isabella is going to be used today. Dan Arnold might be the beneficiary of Christian Kirk being out, so I would go with Will Fuller. Gordon or Henderson, I'd go Gordon. Hey, JJ, half PPR, Melvin or Keenan Allen. I like Keenan Allen today. Marvin Jones or CeeDee Lamb in standard. I like CeeDee Lamb a lot today. I like them both, though, but I would go with CeeDee Lamb. Hey, JJ, pick 1, Marvin Jones, Fuller, or Gage, half PPR. Marvin Jones is probably the safest one, and then Fuller being the higher variance, high ceiling player. Start a limited Josh Jacobs or go Corey Davis in the flex. I still think Josh Jacobs is going to see 15 to 20 touches today, so I would go with Josh Jacobs. McKinnon, Fournette, or Fuller in half PPR. I think Fournette is probably your play, but Fuller has the highest ceiling. I'm worried about McKinnon too. I think that they're still going to use other running backs in that backfield, and there might not be a negative game script for them. Wentz or Rivers. I love Carson Wentz today. I think Carson Wentz might win a GPP today, actually. Burkhead in DFS for a cheap running back. Doesn't seem necessary just because there's so many good running back plays, but you do you, especially if it's a cheap contest. You can just throw it in there and get very, very low roster percentage compared to other lineups. Drop Ingram or Fournette. Already have James Robinson and Melvin Gordon. I would not drop either of those guys. No. Schultz or Logan Thomas. I'd lean Logan Thomas. Fuller, Galladay, or Traquan. I would go with Fuller. Keenan Allen or Deonte Johnson. Lean Deonte, but that's close. Who has the highest floor, Marvin, Gallup, or Kelly? Probably Kelly, but if it's a PPR league, I could argue Marvin Jones there, so maybe Marvin. Finally found the chat. 3 weeks been asking on Facebook. Welcome, John. I'm glad that you were able to find the YouTube page. You're a gem in a sea of watered down advice. Thank you, Roger. I appreciate that, man. Wentz or Ryan? I would go with Carson Wentz. I think Wentz in a good spot this week to really bounce back. Dobbins or CD in the flex? I would definitely go with CD Lamb. Again, great slot matchup for Lamb this week. I like all of the players in that game in general, but CD Lamb is in a phenomenal spot. Tight end PPR, start Waller, Jonnu Smith, or Logan Thomas. I would still start with Waller, even though I do worry that New England's just going to take him out of the game. But I rank them Waller, Jonnu, Logan. So Gage or Goddard at the flex and standard, I have Ertz and Ridley. So you have both of those guys. I think that Gage is probably the safer option, but Goddard, since it's standard, maybe I go Goddard because I think he has more touchdown upside. Damian Harris to plug and play Michael Gallup over Edelman. Drop Damian Harris to plug and play Michael Gallup over Edelman. I would drop Damian Harris for Michael Gallup, but I think that you can still play Edelman over Gallup this week if you need a floor, if it's a PPR league. Mixon or Singletary. I'd still go with Mixon, but I think it's close. You know, the thing with Singletary is we don't know if he's going to be the goal line back either, right? So it's not like he has a high ceiling. Mixon is the goal line back. I was thinking in terms of catching passes versus Singletary is catching passes. You guys don't need to know what's going on in my brain right now. There's so much stuff happening. PPR flex, Gallup or Fuller. I like Gallup more. Pick 3, Galladay, T.Y., Deshaun, A.J. Green, Lazard. I would go with T.Y. and Deshaun and A.J. Green. Kelly or Deonte in standard. I think I'd go Deonte, but I can understand Kelly there. Kelly or Singletary in half PPR. I like Singletary. That's actually a FanDuel question because it's half PPR over on FanDuel, and they're both 5,900 this week. Pick 2, half PPR, Corey Davis, Sony Michel, or Dobbins. I would go with Corey Davis and Dobbins. 1 point PPR, Boston Scott or Chase Edmonds. I'd go for the game that has a higher scoring potential with Chase Edmonds. Upside play, full PPR, Deonte or Connor. Upside play and full PPR would be Deonte. AJ Green, Gage, Robbie Anderson. If I'm picking one of them, I'd go AJ Green. I do worry a little bit about that cornerback matchup, though. Hurst or Logan Thomas in PPR. I lean Hurst, but I think it's very close. Pick 2, Singletary, Montgomery, Josh Kelly. I'd go with the first 2. Start McKinnon, Mike Davis, or Landry. I'd go Landry in full PPR. Diggs or Singletary. I would go with Diggs. Diggs or Edelman. I'd still go with Diggs. I know the matchup isn't great, though. Kelly or David Johnson. Would still lean David Johnson. Daniel Jones or Carson Wentz. I am going with Carson Wentz. I think I just made it to the bottom. Ravens or Cardinals. Defense-wise, I think I'd still go with the Ravens. Thanks, JJ. Love the pods. Appreciate it, Tim. Green or Gibson in half PPR. I'm assuming that's AJ Green. I think that they're basically the same in terms of projected outlook. I mean, there's a lot of ambiguity there. I'd probably lean Green, but Gibson's probably gives you a higher floor. Coke or Pepsi, neither. Pop is trash. Ertz or Burrow. I would go with Burrow over Ertz. I'm assuming this is a super flex question. Galladay, Gallup, or Josh Kelly. I would go with Gallup there in a full PPR league. Woods or Galladay, I'd go with Woods. Henry or Logan Thomas, I'd go with Henry. Half PPR flex, Fuller, Darrell Henderson, or Malcolm Brown. Probably lean Fuller, just go for that upside. Burkhead, Ronald Jones, or Jamal Williams. I guess Ronald Jones, but don't love that one. Stafford or Tannehill. I like Stafford this week. I think that game has the potential to shoot out. David Johnson or Kareem Hunt, half PPR. I think that I would lean Johnson, but I could easily go, you know what, go with Kareem Hunt. I don't like the David Johnson matchup enough. Last question, Kupp or Singletary. Singletary will give you a decent floor, but I love Cooper Kupp this week. I think I would lean his way because there's a little bit more touchdown potential because I don't know if Singletary is going to be the goal line back in that backfield. But guys, I am done. I can't talk anymore. I need to drink some tea and drink some water. You guys can ask me some more questions over on Twitter at LateRoundQB. Make sure you subscribe to the FanDuel YouTube channel. We are live throughout the week, and I will be here every Sunday at noon Eastern. Good luck in week 3. Hopefully I helped, and I'll talk to you next week.